Ever wondered what happens when the victim turns the tables on their bully? Cienne, with his quiet demeanor and blank expression, might look like an easy target, but beneath that calm surface lies a strength that catches his bullies off guard. The story begins with him, the top student in his school, quietly sitting in class while everyone else checks their test answers. Without warning, he slams his fist on the desk, silencing the entire room. He walks straight to one classmate, grabs a book, and smashes it into his face. 13 days earlier, Cienne is the perfect student, solving questions easily and even studying while eating. His mother is an academic lecturer who is rarely home, so he spends more time watching her recorded lectures than seeing her in person. He wins a gold prize in a math competition, showing no emotion, while Young Bin receives the bronze. This bruises Young Bin's ego and sparks his jealousy, leading to a series of bullying. Young Bin likes to bully other students who are bad at academics, have no influence, and are not rich. Cienne is their next target. They torment him, throwing shoes at him, but Cienne is not afraid. He warns Young Bin with his cold, unflinching eyes not to repeat it, which frustrates Young Bin even more. Suho, on the other hand, is quick with his fists, a former MMA fighter. He loves to eat and sleep in class, but when the baseball team accuses him of hitting on a girl he doesn't remember, he beats them without hesitation. Cienne's dad is outstationed for 2 weeks, leaving him alone at home, but since he's used to it, he seems emotionless. Still, his dad is proud of his achievement. Frustrated, Young Bin later steals Cienne's gym clothes to hurt him. Since Cienne is bad at running or physical activities, he becomes the last person to finish the laps. Young Bin's gang mocks him but is stopped by Suho, who finishes the lap the fastest. In the locker room, Cienne confronts Young Bin again, telling him not to disturb him. Then Young Bin's friend starts choking him. But even then, Cienne's cold, unflinching eyes don't waver. When the teacher arrives, they pretend they were just playing with Cienne. Afraid his record will be ruined, Cienne agrees to what Young Bin says to cover it up. Suho works as a delivery driver and one day ends up at Cienne's apartment by mistake. Instead of leaving, he casually walks in, sits in the hallway, and asks for water. Cienne is stunned by his boldness. Later, a new transfer student, Beom Seok, the adopted son of a rich diplomat, arrives to escape the bullying he faced at his previous school. Young Bin immediately targets him. After finding out from his friend that Beom Seok used to get bullied, Young Bin forces him to place a fentanyl patch on the back of Cienne's neck, knowing Cienne values his studies above all. The drug dulls the mind, causes nausea, and ruins concentration. Beom Seok reluctantly obeys. Young Bin and his group already hang around the wrong crowd, drinking in clubs and getting drugs from his older cousin, Seok Dae. During the trial exam, Cienne suddenly leaves the classroom, barely able to walk. Then he realizes the patch is on his neck, peels it off, and repeatedly slaps himself trying to fight the drug's effects. His teacher calls out in concern as the whole class watches. It feels like he is both trying to wake himself up and punishing himself for messing up. After the exam, while students go over their answers, Cienne's frustration grows with each mistake. He finally slams his fist on the desk, just like at the start, then attacks. He smashes a book into Young Bin's face, stabs a pen through one of his friend's hands, wraps a curtain around Young Bin's head, and beats him until the fabric is stained with blood. As Young Bin collapses, bruised and bleeding, Cienne coldly tells him he had warned him to stop. His expression is blank, his violence relentless. He moves to stomp on Young Bin's face, but Suho steps in, pushing him back and warning him not to go too far. Cienne doesn't like Suho's casual tone and grabs a chair, charging straight at him. Cienne throws a chair at Suho, but Suho refuses to fight back. A teacher rushes in to break them up, and Suho quickly lies, saying they were trying to stop Young Bin's gang from fighting. He even asks Cienne to apologize. Meanwhile, Young Bin is in the hospital because of what Cienne did. Cienne goes there with their teacher, but Young Bin's mother scolds him, asking where his mom is, and even threatens to send him to juvenile school. But Cienne, being clever, shows his mother the drug patch he found. When Young Bin gets defensive, Cienne empties all of Young Bin's belongings from his bag, revealing a box of drugs. Their teacher warns that this is no longer just school violence, it's now a serious drug issue, hinting there will be severe consequences for Young Bin. Back home, Cienne's father notices his broken hand and worries, but Cienne lies, saying it happened in gym class. His father, however, knows it's from fighting, but is strangely okay with it, believing it makes Cienne more of a man. Young Bin's gang, still unsatisfied with Cienne, challenges him to a rematch, claiming they weren't ready last time. They drag him to the toilet, unaware that their classmates are following them. Cienne calmly closes the door, walks toward them with a cold, unshaken gaze, and warns them to stop while clicking a pen in his hand. The gang freezes in fear, and Cienne simply walks away without touching them. Outside, his classmates are in awe, but he treats them coldly. Beom Seok watches from a distance. Later, Seok Dae visits Young Bin in the hospital. Still burning with revenge, Young Bin hires Seok Dae to beat up Cienne. On the bus, Cienne runs into Soo-ho and apologizes for what happened earlier. Soo-ho tells him to make it up by buying him food. That night, Soo-ho is busy with his part-time jobs, delivering food and working at a restaurant before taking a shower at the school gym and sleeping in the classroom so he won't oversleep. The next day, Cienne treats him to lunch at the canteen, and the two start to bond. They realize they're both a little strange, but their quirks somehow click perfectly. The students gossip about Cienne, saying he wasn't expelled because of the drug incident with Young Bin, and that Soo-ho is an ex-MMA fighter, which explains his strength. Beom Seok overhears this and later tries to apologize to Cienne for the drug incident, but Cienne ignores him. Meanwhile, another student loses badly in an online gambling game and ends up borrowing a huge amount of money from Seok Dae's gang, who work under a loan shark named Gil-soo. After school, Seok Dae's gang and Young Bin corner Cienne and take him to an unknown location. Beom Seok sees this and runs to Soo-ho for help. At first, Soo-ho refuses, saying he has to work, but when Beom Seok offers to pay him double his wage, he agrees. They hop on a motorbike and go looking for Cienne. At the hideout, Young Bin orders Seok Dae to break Cienne's hand so he can't study, but Cienne quickly assesses the surroundings and manages to fight off Seok Dae's gang. Seok Dae pushes him to the ground, and Young Bin stomps on his hand. Just then, Soo-ho arrives and saves him. As they try to leave, Seok Dae stops them, leading to an intense one-on-one fight with Soo-ho, both of them equally strong. Meanwhile, Young Bin's gang outnumbers Cienne, and Young Bin is about to smash a glass bottle over his head when Beom Seok suddenly pushes him away. Soo-ho calls them out for ganging up on 3 people, and Seok Dae eventually calls off the fight before leaving with his crew. Afterward, Soo-ho invites Cienne and Beom Seok to eat, but it turns out he takes them to the restaurant where he works and makes them help out. Cienne learns Soo-ho has 2 part-time jobs and gains even more respect for him. Beom Seok apologizes for the drug incident, admitting Young Bin forced him to do it, and Cienne forgives him. The 3 grow closer, and Cienne, who's usually hard to approach, starts opening up, even skipping his tutoring to eat with them. That night, Beom Seok stalks Soo-ho's Instagram and follows him, nearly sending him a message asking for a follow back, but stops himself. Gil-soo finds out about the fight, beats up Seok Dae, and breaks his arm. Later, Young Bin bumps into Gil-soo and Seok Dae at the hospital, and Gil-soo asks him for a favor. The next day, Young Bin approaches Cienne, Soo-ho, and Beom Seok, begging them to tell the police that the drugs weren't his because he's afraid of being sent to juvenile school. Feeling sorry for him, they agree. After school, Young Bin leads them to a parking lot, but it turns out he lied. He takes them to meet Gil-soo's gang. Gil-soo insists Seok Dae's arm was broken in the fight and gives them just 3 days to come up with 15 million won for his so-called medical expenses. Soo-ho knows it's a lie because he never broke Seok Dae's arm. When Cienne asks if he has proof, Gil-soo boasts that he makes a living killing and crippling people. Soo-ho laughs, which makes Gil-soo furious, and he slashes Soo-ho's arm. From then on, Gil-soo's gang waits outside their school every day and even shows up at Soo-ho's workplace. One day, Cienne runs into Young-ae, a member of Gil-soo's gang. Young-ae invites him to eat together, tries to flirt with him, and asks for his number. Meanwhile, Gil-soo threatens a student who owes him money, saying that if he doesn't pay, he'll kill his parents and burn their house down. The student can't pay, so Gil-soo makes him his servant. Later, Cienne calls Young-ae and asks to meet. He asks who Gil-soo really is. Young-ae says Gil-soo is their boss, cruel, greedy, connected to real gangsters, and that he abuses his underlings even though he gives them food, drinks, and shelter. Young-ae advises Cienne to just give him the money. Meanwhile, Beom Seok sneaks into his parents' room and steals his father's watch. The next day, on the third day, he shows Suho and Cienne a pile of cash from selling the watch, saying he wants to pay off Gil-soo. Suho confronts him about where the money came from, and Beom Seok admits he stole it. But Cienne and Suho refuse to take the money. Cienne then shares what he learned from Young-i. Gil-soo forces runaway kids to work for him. One of his associates runs a rigged slot machine gambling app. At first, players win big, up to 10 million won, but eventually they lose everything. Desperate to win again, they borrow money from Gil-soo, who already has their personal information. Since they're students and can't repay, they're forced to hand over collateral. One even gave him his mother's car keys. Gil-soo then uses that to blackmail the parents. He also uses the students' bank accounts for illegal loan transactions, forces them to sell drugs, and makes them do other crimes so they can't run away. His ledgers, contracts, and drugs are all kept in a safe in his office, so Cienne plans to bring the police there. Suho and Beom Seok ask how he knows all this, but Cienne doesn't tell. After school, they spot Gil-soo's gang. Suho decides to go to them alone, hoping to lure them into taking him to Gil-soo's office so he can send the address to Cienne and Beom Seok. The plan works. Gil-soo takes the bait. Young-i and Seok-dae stay behind, and Young-i secretly gives Cienne the address. Cienne texts Suho, and in the car, Suho sees the message on his Apple Watch. When they arrive at the office, Suho quietly sends a voice message confirming the address. Beom Seok takes a taxi there despite Cienne trying to stop him. Beom Seok insists the problem could have been solved earlier if he had just given Gil-soo the money. Seok-dae asks Young-i why he's doing this, and Young-i says it's because he wants Gil-soo in jail and doesn't want to live like this anymore. At the office, Gil-soo reveals he knew Suho was tricking him from the start. His men beat Suho with a baseball bat, and Gil-soo joins in. He checks Suho's phone and sees the police are on their way. Beom Seok arrives and knocks on the door. Gil-soo opens it, and at that moment, one of his men is carrying an unconscious Suho. Beom Seok tries to hand over the money, but Gil-soo grabs him instead. Cienne arrives with the police, but they don't stay long. Without a warrant, they can't act on just photos, and they tell Cienne to come to the station to make a statement since a different department handles the case. Disappointed, Cienne sneaks into the office after they leave. It's empty, no one is there, but he finds Suho's blood and sees that the safe is gone. He tries calling Suho, but there's no answer. Gil-soo and his gang quickly grab all their illegal documents and the safe, escaping before the police arrive. Meanwhile, Suho and Beom Seok are captured by Gil-soo's gang. Gil-soo calls Seok-dae and orders Seok-dae and Young-i to come to an abandoned theme park, threatening that if they refuse, he'll sell one of their own gang members. Seok-dae goes alone, telling Young-i to hide. Then Cienne calls Young-i, saying there's no one at Gil-soo's office. Young-i secretly follows Seok-dae and tells Cienne to download a tracking app to locate her, since even she doesn't know where Seok-dae is heading. Young-i then tells Seok-dae she wants to come along. Cienne starts feeling guilty for leaving Suho alone. Young-i messages him, telling him to go to the abandoned theme park. At the theme park, Suho and Beom Seok are tied up. Cienne arrives and calls the police to come there. Seok-dae and Young-i also arrive, but Gil-soo starts beating Seok-dae badly. He orders his new recruit to stab Seok-dae. Young-i is forced to sit next to Suho and Beom Seok. Gil-soo plays a sick game, deciding who to stab first. Suddenly, Seok-dae pushes him, and they fight. Gil-soo pulls out a knife and shoves Seok-dae down. Young-i attacks Gil-soo by hitting his head, making him fall, but Gil-soo starts choking her until she's almost dead. Just then, the sound of police sirens is heard. Luckily, Cienne shows up, and Gil-soo lets go of Young-i. Cienne tells him the police are searching his car. Gil-soo and his gang run to their vehicle, and Cienne unties Suho and Beom Seok. But soon, Gil-soo's gang returns. The siren was actually fake, coming from Cienne's phone. Suho and Cienne fight the gang. Moments later, the real police arrive. Gil-soo tries to run, but Cienne chases him. They fight, but Gil-soo is stronger, and Cienne is beaten badly. Then Suho, who's been secretly tailing Cienne, suddenly jumps in and joins the fight against Gil-soo. Working together, Suho and Cienne finally take him down. Afterward, Suho asks Cienne if he's crazy for chasing Gil-soo alone. Cienne replies that he knew Suho would follow him. Seok-dae and Young-i run away, but Seok-dae decides not to escape with Young-i and instead surrenders to the police. Both Gil-soo and Seok-dae are arrested. Beom Seok returns Cienne's phone. Both of them are called to the police station to give statements. There, they apologize to each other for what happened. Beom Seok's father's assistant arrives, saying they've settled the matter with the police. The police agree not to inform their families or school, and that they have no involvement in the case. The assistant tells Cienne to go home. It's then revealed that Beom Seok's father already knows about the case. The assistant tells Beom Seok to punch Gil-soo, but Beom Seok is too scared and leaves the room. Outside the police station, Cienne runs into Young-hee. All of Gil-soo's underlings have gone home except Young-hee, who is homeless. Cienne takes her to see Soo-ho at the hospital and tells Soo-ho everything about the Gil-soo case. Cienne and Soo-ho then find out that Beom Seok is actually from a wealthy family. Young-hee asks if she can sleep in the empty bed next to Soo-ho. Soo-ho agrees, and Young-hee jokingly declares herself Cienne's girlfriend even though he denies it. Later, Cienne, who used to be heartless, now shows kindness by buying food for both Soo-ho and Young-hee. Soo-ho awkwardly compliments Cienne's kindness, making Cienne smile for the first time. Meanwhile, at Beom Seok's house, his father beats him. Even though his father is a diplomat, he's cruel, heartless, and abuses Beom Seok, but in public, he pretends to be a kind and respectable diplomat. Beom Seok walks awkwardly after being beaten by his father. At school, everyone finds out that Cienne, Soo-ho, and Beom Seok defeated Gil-soo's gang. Beom Seok realizes that Young-bin's gang is now too scared to mess with them. In the canteen, Soo-ho and Cienne talk about Young-hee. Soo-ho helped Young-hee get a part-time job at his restaurant and even let him stay at his place. Beom Seok learns about this. That weekend, they plan to hang out, and Soo-ho asks if Young-hee can join them, and they agree. At home, Beom Seok checks Instagram and sees that Soo-ho follows Young-hee but doesn't follow him back. He stalks Young-hee's profile and finds a post of Young-hee hanging out with Soo-ho and even meeting Soo-ho's grandmother. This makes Beom Seok feel left out. Cienne meets his mother, but she treats him coldly, too busy with work even when they meet in person. When Soo-ho, Young-hee, and Beom Seok hang out together, Young-hee asks about Soo-ho's birthday plans. Beom Seok is shocked. He didn't even know Soo-ho's birthday is next weekend. Yet Young-hee, who just met him, already knows. At the cafe, Soo-ho and Young-hee sit down first, leaving Beom Seok to order alone. Cienne later joins them, and from a distance, Beom Seok sees the three of them talking happily, making him feel even more excluded. They head to karaoke, where Beom Seok bumps into his old schoolmates, the ones who used to bully him. He hides in a room, but later notices Young-hee taking a call from those bullies. Angry, Beom Seok confronts her, but Soo-ho steps in, causing Young-hee to leave upset. Suddenly, the old bullies walk into their room, pretending to be Beom Seok's friends. Cienne tells them to leave, and the bullies warn Beom Seok to answer their calls next time before walking out. In class, Beom Seok gets irritated at his noisy classmates while he's trying to nap. He accuses them of laughing at him and tries to pick a fight, but Cienne and Soo-ho stop him. Soo-ho teases him for trying too hard to act tough and hugs him, but Beom Seok pushes him away, saying not to touch him, before walking off. Both Soo-ho and Cienne are confused by his sudden change in attitude. That night, his old bullies keep spamming him with calls. Soo-ho and Cienne go jogging together, and Soo-ho decides to train Cienne in fighting since his stamina is low. They talk about Beom Seok and decide to visit his house later. When they arrive, Soo-ho is surprised at how luxurious Beom Seok's home is and tells him his family looks happy. But Beom Seok reveals that they're not his real family. He's adopted by his stepfather to maintain his image as a diplomat. He opens up about his past bullying, saying it was so bad he ended up in the hospital and had to change schools. Since running into his old bullies at karaoke, they've been calling non-stop to meet him just to bully him again. Soo-ho asks why they bullied him, and Beom Seok says he did nothing wrong. They did it just to boost their own status. Soo-ho tells him to call them out to meet so they can force an apology. At karaoke, Beom Seok asks the leader to apologize, but he refuses, saying he did nothing wrong. Even after repeated requests, the leader won't do it, so Soo-ho twists his ear until he gives a half-hearted apology. Beom Seok says if he's really sorry, let him hit him once. The leader gets angry and punches Beom Seok, knocking off his glasses. Beom Seok grabs a microphone to hit him back, but Soo-ho stops him and drags him out. Outside, Beom Seok confronts Soo-ho, asking why he keeps giving him orders and if he's just Soo-ho's sidekick. Soo-ho snaps back, saying he even skipped work to help him. They argue, and Cienne tries to break it up, but Beom Seok storms off. Cienne follows and asks if he's okay. Beom Seok says he is, then leaves. Later, Beom Seok gets a call from his old bully leader but doesn't answer. He then runs into Young Bin's gang, who are beating up his old bullies for money because they're rich kids. Beom Seok starts beating the bully leader brutally, remembering the times he was bullied and beaten by his father. Young Bin's gang takes Beom Seok to a club. They drink, check out girls, and Beom Seok buys them drinks. They only want to be friends with him because they know he's rich. One of them follows him on Instagram and tags him, making Beom Seok happy because he doesn't feel left out. He even decides to unfollow Suho. The group notices a table of girls and Beom Seok suddenly grabs a bottle of alcohol, walks over, and invites the girls to drink with them. Beom Seok comes to class late, still hungover from the night before. Cienne asks if he's okay, but Beom Seok ignores him and joins Young Bin's gang, while Cienne watches from afar. Later in the lab, Suho asks where Beom Seok is, and Cienne points him out. Cienne pulls Beom Seok aside, asking why he didn't answer his calls. Beom Seok says he didn't notice, and when asked why he's close with Young Bin's gang, he replies it's his choice. Cienne suggests talking to Suho about their problems, but Beom Seok refuses, saying Suho looks down on him, doesn't see him as a friend, and treats him like a sidekick. Suho overhears, and Beom Seok storms off. That night, Beom Seok meets Young Bin at a club. Young Bin, now in another school after the drug case, introduces him to new friends, including Woo Young, a future MMA fighter with a YouTube channel where he live streams the fights against scammers. Young Bin learns Beom Seok is no longer close to Suho and Cienne, and still wanting revenge, begins plotting. Meanwhile, Suho makes Cienne help with his part-time food delivery job. After work, they have drinks, and Cienne asks about Young-i. Suho says she's adjusting to her new job. Cienne shares his suspicion that Young Bin's gang is using Beom Seok's wealth, buying clothes, shoes, and paying for drinks daily. Suho thinks maybe this is what Beom Seok wanted from the start, to be popular, just like when he first befriended them. Later, Beom Seok and the gang smoke in the toilet while talking about girls. Back in class, Beom Seok moves to Young Bin's old seat, closer to the gang. Cienne warns them not to take advantage of him, but they insist he's the one offering to treat them. Suho overhears and later tells Cienne in the canteen to stop worrying. Cienne says maybe Beom Seok is just lonely. Suddenly, Beom Seok and the gang cut the lunch line. Suho tells them to queue, then shoves one of them. The gang leaves, but Beom Seok stays, so Suho pushes him too and walks away. Angry, Beom Seok asks who can beat up Suho. The gang suggests Woo Young. Beom Seok meets him, with Young Bin and the gang present, and hires him to attack Suho on his birthday. Woo Young says he'll livestream it unedited. They recall that Woo Young once lost to Suho back in his MMA days, and fearing that Suho might still win now, they cut the brake wires on his motorbike that night. While delivering food, Suho crashes. Beom Seok and the gang see it happen and run. The next day, Suho comes to school with a broken leg, suspecting Beom Seok and the gang. After class, Cienne asks what happened, but Suho doesn't answer and instead provokes Beom Seok as he walks past. On Suho's birthday, Young-i and Cienne decorate a party room. Beom Seok calls Suho, but he doesn't pick up. Then Young-i gets a message from Beom Seok, asking her to meet him to give Suho's gift and not tell anyone. Knowing they're no longer friends, she lies about going to the store. She meets Beom Seok at a cafe, apologizes for answering the bully's call before, and invites him to the party to make peace. Beom Seok tells her to stay out of it. Then she notices Young Bin's gang nearby. Meanwhile, Suho and Cienne wait for her. While Suho eats pizza, Cienne calls Young-i with no answer, then spots Beom Seok's message on Suho's phone saying to meet him if he wants Young-i safe. Suho hasn't read it, so Cienne deletes it and lies that he's going to the store when he's actually going to meet Beom Seok. In an abandoned building, Cienne arrives, scans the area, and prepares to fight alone. Young-i is shocked to see him and runs with him, but the gang chases them. Cienne fights them off, telling her to run and call the police. He does well until Woo Young appears and beats him badly. Young Bin tries to hit him with a metal rod, but Beom Seok says to stop. His target is Suho, not Cienne. Young Bin refuses, saying they've helped him and treated him like a friend. He then attacks Cienne with the rod while Beom Seok walks away, feeling guilty. Woo Young asks Beom Seok for payment and says he'll attack Suho later. Young Bin's gang continues beating Cienne until the police arrive, forcing them to flee. As police and paramedics arrive, Cienne is taken into the ambulance while police question Young-ae. She starts telling the truth, but Cienne stops her, lies that he was alone so the case won't escalate, and tells her not to inform Soo-ho. Soo-ho waits for them until he falls asleep, and when he wakes up, they're still not back. Later, Cienne calls Beom Seok, telling him not to bother Soo-ho anymore, but Beom Seok stays silent and ends the call. In a flashback, young Cienne overhears his parents arguing about him always being sick and a burden. They try to comfort him, but he ignores them, leading him to grow up keeping everything inside. In the present, his father notices his injuries, suspects a fight, but Cienne lies, saying he fell down the stairs. His father suggests transferring schools, but Cienne refuses and asks why he suddenly cares. Elsewhere, Beom Seok's assistant finds him hiding in a closet. The assistant reports the old building fight is settled and is told to watch Beom Seok, as he'll be sent to a school in the Philippines. Beom Seok overhears and asks how they knew. His assistant says the police called, but Cienne didn't press charges because they are friends. At school, Soo-ho sees both Cienne and Beom Seok absent. He messages Cienne, who says he has things to do at home. Suspicious, Soo-ho visits Young-ee's workplace and asks why she didn't go home last night. Soo-ho thinks it's a birthday prank, but Young-ee denies it and apologizes. Soo-ho then goes to Cienne's house but finds no one there. The next day, Soo-ho asks Young-bin's gang why Beom Seok hasn't come. They say they don't know, his phone is off. Soo-ho tells them to tell Beom Seok to pay for his bike repairs, hinting he knows they cut his brake wires. They call Beom Seok, but he doesn't answer. They also admit they worry Cienne might have died from that incident. Soo-ho overhears it was his plan to trick them into talking. He beats them up, one confesses everything to avoid more hits, but Soo-ho still refuses to let him go. Soo-ho returns to Young-ee's workplace and asks which hospital Cienne is in. Young-ee says he's being discharged today but asks him to pretend he doesn't know. Soo-ho apologizes, saying it's all his fault. Later, Soo-ho visits Cienne at his home. Cienne hides his cast under a sweater, but Soo-ho notices and pretends not to. Soo-ho asks Cienne if he's okay and if he'll come for the final exams tomorrow, and Cienne says yes to both questions. Meanwhile, Beom Seok is beaten again by his father for not listening. His father says he'll send him to the Philippines and doesn't care if he dies or takes drugs, as long as no one there knows he's his son. Feeling rebellious, Beom Seok runs away despite his assistant trying to stop him. He checks missed calls and sees Soo-ho's threatening message. At the same time, Soo-ho breaks Young-bin's arm after Young-bin says he doesn't know where Beom Seok is. Soo-ho searches for him everywhere. Young-ee calls Cienne, saying Soo-ho knows the truth. They worry because Soo-ho isn't answering calls or going to work, and suspect he's looking for Beom Seok. Frustrated, Beom Seok calls Woo Young to arrange a fight. He lures Soo-ho to a gym, where Young-bin's gang is waiting. Soo-ho confronts Beom Seok for involving Cienne and Young-ae, apologizes for making him angry, and tells him to apologize to them. But Beom Seok refuses. Soo-ho punches him, and Woo Young challenges him to fight in the ring. Soo-ho beats up the gang first, then fights Woo Young. Woo Young records the fight. Both are strong, but a gang member grabs Soo-ho's leg from outside the ring, causing him to fall, and Woo Young kicks him in the head, knocking him out. Beom Seok steps in, mocks Soo-ho, and Soo-ho tells him to stop blaming others. Angry, Beom Seok kicks him, and the gang joins in, beating him until he's unconscious. Woo Young ends the recording, but the beating has already been captured. Realizing Soo-ho isn't waking up, the gang tries to run, but Beom Seok's father's assistants block them. Shocked, Beom Seok feels guilty. Meanwhile, Cienne and Young-ee go to the old building to find Soo-ho, but he's not there and doesn't answer their calls. In a flashback, Cienne, Soo-ho, and Beom Seok are hanging out after class, talking and bonding like true friends. In the present, Beom Seok's assistant orders Young-bin's gang and Woo Young to lie to the police, saying Soo-ho suddenly fainted while taking a break after exercising together. They're told to make sure no one says anything else, or they'll end up in juvenile school. The assistant also tells Woo Young to delete the fight video. They all give their statements to the police, and the assistant uses Soo-ho's phone to text Cienne, pretending Soo-ho is just working out, to cover up what really happened. At Beom Seok's house, his father beats him again, but Beom Seok is only worried about Soo-ho. In just 24 hours, he's supposed to leave for the Philippines. The next day, final exams begin. Cienne arrives early, still worried about Suho. Meanwhile, Young-i plans to keep searching for Suho after giving her police statement. After the exam, Cienne checks his phone and sees multiple missed calls from Young-i. When he calls back, she tells him Suho is in the hospital in a coma, beaten by Beom Seok's gang. The assistant wants to pay for Suho's treatment and have his grandmother sign a contract. Heartbroken, Cienne visits Suho in the hospital and meets his grandmother, who cries, telling him how much Suho talked about him. Young-i and Cienne stay overnight to take care of Suho. The next day, Young-i tells Cienne to go to school for his exam. The assistant informs Beom Seok that Suho is still alive and tells him to get ready to say goodbye to his teachers and friends before transferring. On the way with his father, Young-i blocks their car, but the assistant stops her. Furious, Young-i yells at Beom Seok, saying it's all his fault and telling him to apologize to Suho. Beom Seok gets out and says everything was ruined the moment she came into their lives because the three of them had been so close before Young-i showed up. Then the assistant forces him back into the car. Instead of going to school, Cienne goes on a rampage for revenge. At Youngbin's school, he beats Youngbin brutally, stabs his shoulder, and demands to know where Woo Young is. Youngbin says he's at the gym and swears he wasn't involved, blaming everything on Beom Seok, claiming he only saw Woo Young's video. Cienne doesn't care and keeps hitting him. He then watches the fight video and heads to the gym. Cienne tries to attack Woo Young from behind with a rod, but Woo Young is skilled and can read all of Cienne's moves, even though he uses all the tricks he learned from Suho. Even after taking multiple punches, Cienne refuses to give up, fights back, grabs Woo Young's shoelace, and tries to strangle him. Woo Young breaks free and beats Cienne down. But in the end, Cienne blocks Woo Young's punch and smashes his leg with a dumbbell, making him collapse. Woo Young begs for mercy, but Cienne breaks his leg anyway. After finishing at Youngbin's school, Cienne goes to his own. Beom Seok and his father are there. Beom Seok's dad meets the principal to ask about Suho's incident, and the principal believes the lies told by the students. Beom Seok is taking his exam when Cienne storms in with a fire extinguisher and attacks Youngbin's gang one by one, even with the teacher in the room. He's completely lost control, beating up Youngbin's gang until only Beom Seok is left. Cienne tells him he warned him to stop because they're friends. Beom Seok tells him to just hit him, so Cienne shoves him to the ground and demands to know why he did that to Suho. Beom Seok says he doesn't know. Cienne raises his hand to hit him, but can't bring himself to do it. At that moment, Beom Seok's father and the principal arrive, and the principal orders Cienne to stop. A teacher chases after him, but Cienne punches a window, shattering the glass and shouts in rage, leaving everyone shocked. Cienne returns to the hospital where Suho is still unconscious. Exhausted, he falls asleep and dreams that Suho wakes up, and they both apologize for everything. When he wakes up, he cries. In a flashback, the three friends are happy together, but now everything has changed. Beom Seok flies to the Philippines. Young-a apologizes for feeling responsible for what happened before leaving, and no one can reach her. Beom Seok's father wants Cienne sent to juvenile school, but because of the video, he agrees to let Cienne transfer instead, as long as he stays silent. Thanks to his father's influence, no school in Seoul will accept him despite his intelligence. Only one school outside Seoul agrees to take him. Cienne and his parents arrive at his new school. His mother offers to go in with him, but he refuses. His father praises him for defending Suho. In class, the teacher introduces him, and just like before, one student already targets him for bullying, not knowing who he really is. This sets the stage for Season 2. Stay tuned for next week. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Craving K-dramas or K-movies? Get your bite-sized fill at Recap Dumpling.